This lesson covers the actions of the libero. The libero is defined in several places throughout the rulebook, beginning with the libero's uniform. The libero is intentionally identified via a different uniform. Because the libero has certain freedoms and restrictions that other players do not have, it is imperative that the referees can identify the libero immediately. The libero uniform rule is written very specifically. The new solid color rule is stressed in the VHSL State Clinic, so we will not discuss it here, but it is imperative that all referees examine the legality and compliance of uniforms as early as possible upon arriving at a match site. The libero is a defensive player who can play in any back row position. Only one libero may be designated per set, and the libero may serve in one service position. If a player is given two numbers, one as a regular player and one as the libero number must be identified on the roster using the letter L. If the player only has one number that is used for both a regular jersey and a libero jersey, no such designation needs to be made. Because the libero is a defensive position, there are some restrictions on what the libero can do on the court. We'll focus on these playing actions and on libero replacements in the remaining slides. The libero, as a principally defensive player, is limited in the way they can participate in the team's offense. One of the restrictions on the libero is that they cannot attack the ball if contact is made while the ball is entirely above the height of the net. This sounds similar to the restriction on back row players. However, while regular back row players may complete an attack from above the height of the net if positioned behind the attack line, the libero is restricted from completing an attack from above the height of the net anywhere on the court. Secondly, to limit the team's ability to use the libero to set up the offense, the libero may not set the ball using overhead finger action in front of the attack line and have the next contact be a completed attack from above the height of the net. Note that this is a two-part rule. There is nothing inherently illegal about the libero setting the ball in front of the attack line. The libero's action becomes illegal only if the next contact is a completed attack from above the height of the net. When this occurs, the signal is an illegal attack. For clarification, the R1 may point with an open hand at the libero. In this video, the libero jumps and attacks the ball from behind the attack line. The referee must determine whether the ball was entirely above the height of the net when the libero made contact with the ball. It is important to remember the language of the rules. We often hear coaches complain saying, "She jumped," when they want an illegal back row attack called. But there is no language in the rules about whether a player jumps or stays on the ground. We must only determine the height of the ball at the moment of contact. This can be a difficult judgment when a player is very far from the net. When making this determination, it can be tempting to want to bend down or lean over, but stay upright as the R1 and remember to watch the player's contact first and foremost. In this video, the liberos on both sides of the court set the ball using overhead finger action. On the left, the libero in red is clearly behind the line when the action is performed, so the next contact can be an attack from above the height of the net. On the right, the libero last makes contact with the floor behind the attack line. He jumps, contacts the ball with overhead finger action, and then lands in front of the attack line. The subsequent attack from above the height of the net is also legal because the last point the libero touched on the floor was behind the attack line. Had the libero touched a point on or in front of the attack line before contacting the ball, the result would be an illegal attack once the attack from above the height of the net was completed. The libero is not subject to the same restrictions of entry that regular players are. While regular players make substitutions, the libero makes replacements. Substitutions are authorized by a whistle from the second referee. Replacements, however, may happen during a dead ball without the referee's whistle. The second referee is still responsible for being aware of replacements and warning or administering sanctions for replacements that are not completed properly. The referees also must be aware of which player the libero replaces. Regular players may only enter in one service position, but the libero may enter the court for any back row player. When the libero comes off the floor, the same player whom the libero replaced must re-enter the court, and the libero must remain off the floor for one rally before replacing someone else. The one exception to this rule is that the libero does not have to leave the floor for one rally if the libero is replacing the next server. The libero may only serve in one service position. One of the personnel at the scoring table, the libero tracker, will be responsible for monitoring the libero replacements and reporting any illegal replacements to the second referee. We will cover more on libero replacements and the libero serving in the scorekeeping module. This is an illustration of the layout of the court and the different zones. While substitutions happen within the substitution zone, between the net and the attack line, replacements happen between the attack line and the end line. Libero replacements should not occur over the end line or in the substitution zone. Libero replacements must also occur during a dead ball before the whistle for service. If a libero replacement happens in an improper location, the coach should be warned to make the libero replacements happen properly. Subsequent improper replacements are subject to an unnecessary delay. Likewise, if a libero replacement happens after the whistle for serve, but before the service contact, the coach should be warned. Further improper replacements should be sanctioned with an unnecessary delay. Rule 10.4, Penalty 1, refers to discovering an illegal libero replacement, such as the wrong player replacing the libero, or a libero not sitting out for one dead ball. If an illegal libero replacement is discovered prior to the whistle for serve, the team should be given an unnecessary delay. If the illegal libero replacement is discovered after the whistle for serve, an illegal alignment fault is the result. A few notes on rules dealing with the redesignation of the libero. Only one libero may be designated per set. The coach will identify the libero on the lineup sheet before the start of each set. The libero may change from set to set. If the libero becomes injured during the match, the libero must first be replaced by the appropriate player. After that point, the coach may choose to redesignate the libero if the libero cannot continue to play. The redesignation does not have to occur immediately after the injury. If the libero is redesignated, then the original libero shall not play for the remainder of the set. The redesignated libero must have a legal uniform. It does not have to be identical to the previous libero's uniform as long as it meets the criteria established in Rules 4.2.2 and 4.2.3. The libero may also be used as an exceptional substitute for an injured player if no other exceptional substitutes are available. If the libero is to be used as an exceptional substitute, the libero must have a legal regular team jersey with a unique number. If a player is disqualified from the match, the libero may not be used as an exceptional substitute. The team must make a regular substitution, and if it cannot, it must play with fewer than 6 players. If the libero is disqualified, the team may not redesignate the libero. The team must play without a libero for the remainder of the set. This concludes the lesson on the libero. Please mark this lesson complete. Thank you.